everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Stacey Hewitt. This is Suzanne Farnese.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Farnese,
All this time.
That's okay.
Anyway.
I'm a counselor at West.
Yep, and I'm at East. So what we're going to do is just go over some basic scholarship information. It's interactive, so feel free to ask questions as we go through. And there are a lot of active links that you're going to see, and both East and West we'll put this on our website, so don't feel like you have to frantically write any of this down. It'll all be accessible online tomorrow morning, actually.
So some common scholarship questions that you may see, or that you may be asking yourself: who wins scholarships? Who qualifies for them? What types of scholarships are out there? I'm sure how many of you have heard the question, like, or people say there's thousands of dollars out there just waiting to be taken, but nobody really knows how to access that money. So where can the scholarships be found? Hopefully we answer that for you tonight a little bit. When should students apply for scholarships? We are right in the start of this season for scholarships at this time right now for our current seniors applying for the fall. So if you have a junior student, it would be this time next year is really the start of this scholarship season. And then how do we get started? We'll be covering all of this stuff.
So to start, just expectations are important. Very few students actually do get a complete full ride. So I doubt that most of you were planning on that, but you can see it's actually 0.3% of students attending a four-year college will get their full cost of attendance paid for scholarship-wise. So really, if you look down at the bottom bullet, 69.1% are receiving less than $2,500. And so that's probably more typical, but there are lots and lots of opportunities that hopefully children will take advantage of so that you can potentially get some more than that. You can also see that four-year colleges tend to award more scholarships than two-year colleges. I'll just kind of quickly go through these. A lot of these stats are coming from FastWeb and Monster, but I thought they were interesting and at least worth noting. So you can see some majors definitely are earning or getting more scholarships than others. Definitely the STEM majors tend to be the ones getting the most money. Likewise, and this is probably not surprising, but students that are getting good grades tend to be awarded more money as well. Though you don't have to have perfect grades to get opportunities. And then, of course, test scores. Same thing. The higher the test score, the higher the probability that your child will be eligible and win a scholarship.
So the different types of scholarships. You may have heard of some of these before. Some of them may be new to you. Merit-based scholarships are based on students' academic performance while they were here in high school. So leadership positions that they held, activities that they were involved in, as well as their academic success. Academic scholarships are usually awarded based on the intended major of study. So if someone is intending to major in engineering or English or business, and awarding those scholarships because it's to continue their education in that field of study. Needs-based scholarships are exactly what they sound like. They're based on financial need of families. A lot of times on scholarship applications, they may ask for family joint household income, and that is how they determine whether or not you would be eligible for a scholarship. And then, of course, we have athletic scholarships as well for student athletes attending universities. Many of them may be awarded athletic scholarship money.
Yeah. And then at the bottom, and this is what we're going to talk about just a little bit more, while you've probably heard of those top 4 types of scholarships, the bottom, the ones based on unique talents and just different attributes, are really the ones that I would say, in terms of the local scholarships that we see, are the ones that go unclaimed sometimes. So some of the examples, were like ethnic background, disabilities, community service, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to see, this is just a list that we put together. And these are all live links. These are active, real scholarships. The top link is for left-handed students, and that's actually just a database of left-handed scholarships. It's bizarre how many scholarships
lefty.
there are. Yeah, it's really
I missed that one.
Yeah. So that one is not just one scholarship. That's just actually a list of the dozens and dozens of scholarships. But just I'll pick a few. So like you might have seen the duct tape stuck at prom contest. It encourages kids to be super creative and use duck brand products to create a dress.
To wear to prom.
To wear to prom, right. And it's a pretty significant scholarship. It's a national scholarship, so it can be more on the competitive side. But I mean, it's obviously has nothing to do with your test scores or your grades or anything like that. The ZOLP scholarship is kind of a funny one too. It's Chicago, Loyola University in Chicago has this scholarship named after, I guess it's one of the founders or the founder of the university. And if your last name is Zolp, you can go there for free. You do have to apply or provide birth certificates and hospital records and all that. But so if you know any Zolps, they should definitely consider. Yeah. And then, of course, where would the world be without Fortnite scholarships? But it is true that there are esports scholarships that exist. In no way, shape, or form do we encourage you to like pursue these as your extracurricular activity. But if you are good, they have these tournaments for a couple different games. I don't know what they are, but I put the Fortnite one on there because I think people generally know what that one is. But you can just see there's all kinds of bizarre things out there. We also wanted to highlight that you don't have to be in high school even to start thinking about this. So if you do have younger children, certainly there are opportunities that they can be considering as well. It's funny because I need to start practicing what I preach with this. Like as I'm looking at this, why am I not having my kids do these? But it's hard to find time, and that's one of the reasons that we've seen high school students tell us they know these opportunities are out there, but their plates are very full. And when do they find the time to do this? So I think one of the takeaways that we're going to talk about in a little bit is organizing your time so that you can begin to like have this be just like a homework assignment, allotting time in your schedule anytime throughout high school, but particularly junior and senior year really can be valuable. And these are just, again, another list of scholarships that have absolutely, or at least very little to do with your grades and SAT or ACT scores. A lot of these are essay contests, so some, strong writers generally are going to be doing well with some of those.
Okay, so finding scholarships, how do you access them? We have a couple of resources on this slide for you, and there are actually a couple of apps out there that we'll discuss shortly as well. So Naviance is the key one that we use as our home base as guidance departments or counseling departments from East and West. We have a local scholarship program that runs later on in March, where seniors can apply for scholarships based on elementary school that they attended, middle school that they attended, and then local families, retired teachers, local businesses all have, they're all benefactors for our scholarship program. In Naviance, you sign in, you go to colleges and scholarships and money, and that's really where you access the bulk of those scholarships. Local organizations and community foundations, many Downingtown area businesses, the Chester County Community Foundation, they offer large amounts of scholarships as well through our 12th grade local program. And those will be accessible March 1st through the 31st for this year's senior class. Next year, depending on where that spring break falls, it's always in that March month, but it might shift a little bit depending on spring break. Financial aid office, a lot of colleges, if you call the college where you are, or the several colleges to which you've applied, you can talk with the financial aid office and see what specific opportunities for scholarships that they may provide. I attended a financial aid workshop this fall in September, and there was a representative from Westchester University, and she said that they do offer scholarships unique to students specifically for Westchester that a lot of times people don't know about, but if you call and ask if there are offerings, seek and you shall find. And then scholarship search sites. There are a couple of them. College Board is one of them. FastWeb is another. And really, Scholly is an app that was actually designed by a Drexel undergrad. I attended the Drexel representative visit this fall, and she really talked about this app. He actually went on the Shark Tank, if anybody's a fan of Shark Tank, with this app, and it is thriving right now because he realized that there was so much money that's out there that people were not utilizing. So I believe that one is $1.99 in the App Store, but the FastWeb app is free for download to your phone. So even if you just type in scholarships on your App Store, on your iTunes or whatever phone you use, you should be able to download some scholarship apps as well.
And when do you apply? So I just mentioned that you can begin applying in even elementary school, but generally most students do start applying or looking at scholarships probably in 11th grade. There absolutely are opportunities for 9th to 10th grade students as well, but oftentimes the whole idea of college and paying for college doesn't feel real until you're in about 11th grade. We always are updating Naviance, so anything that is sent to our office is automatically posted onto Naviance underneath the scholarship list link. And Sally Mae actually updates the national scholarship search, which is also in Naviance, and that is consistently updated too. So once your student goes in and creates a profile, just answering some general questions about themselves, that will continuously update, and they can search, they can just log in at any time and see if there's any new matches, and they can begin applying. But you can see that a large percentage of the award deadlines are between February and April. It just works out that way. And even our local program falls under really that same guideline too. So kids are often getting their awards at the end of that school year, which is kind of nice actually.
So getting started. It can be really overwhelming thinking about this topic, but if you stay organized and as Stacy said, carve out a little bit of time each night to work on the scholarships, really get together almost like a little mini resume for yourself that you could use for multiple scholarships, because many of these scholarships will be asking for the same information. What is your high school GPA? What is, you will need letters of recommendation. They will need somewhat an official transcript, a somewhat unofficial transcripts. So it just depends. You have to really read the fine print of the scholarship to make sure that you are following it to the letter of the law, because if you're not following it clearly, you pretty much are eliminating yourself from the selection process. And then an activity resume is also an extremely key part, because a lot of the scholarships want to know what were you involved in that made you eligible for this. What's your experience? And through a lot of our junior conferences, we talk about that activity resume and updating it.
Are the recommendation letters the same ones that you use for applying for?
So a lot of kids kind of double dip there. So if you've used letters of recommendations for college, sometimes you might just need to re-ask that teacher and say, would you mind tweaking it? If it says college or university, then maybe just taking out that phrase and saying for your scholarship rather, because a lot of the teachers that write letters of recommendations for college admissions will say something about, your university, or sometimes even specifically what the university is in there. Take that out, just edit it ever so slightly to fit the scholarship bill. Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
But as I said, really want to read all the applications carefully, because they have thousands of applicants many times, and they want to, especially the national ones. For us with our locals, we can have dozens of kids applying for the same scholarship, and if you don't follow the directions, you get taken right out of the pile for consideration. And then lastly, be aware of scholarship scams. There are all kinds of scams, as many of you know, out there today. If they are asking for anything personal, like a social security number, bank account information, asking for a credit card, do not, that's not a legit scholarship. They should be giving you the money. You should not be really paying anything extreme other than maybe $1.99 in the App Store for an app, but nothing significant for scholarships.
Yeah, and just to point out, so the section right across the way is on financial aid, which does require that federal FAFSA form. And there is a lot of personal information on that form, very similar really to your tax documents. It's usually taking your prior year's tax information. And they do ask social security numbers on that FAFSA application. But the FAFSA is free, you know, the free application for federal student aid. So outside of that one form where you will have very personal information that you're submitting, private scholarships should never be asking that kind of information. One of the things that does happen, I mean, certainly companies try to incentivize people to use their products. And so there's a lot of like credit unions, for instance, that will offer a scholarship for a member of the credit union. And oftentimes say, if you're not a member, you can join, you know, and it's a legitimate scholarship, but of course they're trying to give it to someone,
marketing
you know,
strategy.
right, in their, yeah. So just be aware of all of that. It doesn't mean that it's not legitimate money, but of course they might have their intentions as well. So we just posted just some general helpful resources. We talked about Naviance a lot, and actually I think we're gonna have a few minutes so that we can just quickly show you how to log into Naviance. We show students almost every year that we get them into our office how to do it, but that doesn't mean that they've showed you. So we're gonna make sure that you know exactly how to log into Naviance, because it really is the warehouse for all of this information. And then come senior year, it's how we're gonna be applying to college, how letters of recommendation are gonna be uploaded and sent. So it's really an important piece for you to understand. But the College Board scholarship site, FastWeb Scholly, all of the things we talked about. Of course, the East, West, and STEM homepages where a lot of this stuff is also posted. We have links to, and then just our general apply now. Do you want to come up? Yeah. So I'm just gonna pull up.
Does anyone have questions while they're logging on to Naviance in general?
Maybe, I don't know if you covered this with Naviance. So do students, are they assigned passwords for Naviance?
Yes.
Do they create passwords, or how does that
No,
work?
everybody has a district assigned password, username and password. Their username is their student ID number, and their password is their birthday with the slashes and no leading zeros for a single digit month. So if your birthday is March 3rd, it would be 3/3/ and then a 4-digit year.
So username is student
Student
ID.
ID number.
And then birthday is slash with no leading zero.
Correct. And a 4-digit year.
Okay,
So
thank
in
you.
order to sign in to Naviance, sorry, I'm Christina Pantano, I'm one of the counselors as well. I work at East. So as long as from any, it could be for this specific high school or it can be the districts page, you just click on the students tab, and then on the left hand side under Naviance, you can just select your school. And then it will bring you to the login screen, and then it will ask you for your username and your password. So
It
this
says email and username, which is misleading. So it's not the 19 first
Yes.
initial last name. It is their student ID number.
and it's been that way since they were in middle school. I mean, students have access to Naviance in middle school, and then we encourage them to log in each year as early as 9th grade to start building their resume. And then they'll enter the password, and it even reminds kind of the format, so single digit note zeros as placeholders. And
They never saw this little reminder here. Yeah.
and then, so once you're in, let's see, this is kind of like our demo account, so once it loads we can show you this is the look of it. And then you will be going into where it says colleges, and then you can just click home, and then down at the bottom under scholarships and money, so these are some of the things that were discussed in the presentation. So the scholarship list is going to, I don't know that in the demo account it will actually show anything, but that will be anything that the school posts, or in March it will list all of the local scholarships. And those usually go out either to parents in a hard letter through the mail or via an email blast, and then we put lots of announcements on TV, so there's always a parent notification, and then notification to students of when that's actually live online. So let's see if there's actually anything in here. Okay, so there are a few, and usually what happens is we'll enter in as much information as we kind of can so that at a snapshot glance you can see, is there an essay required, and how much the essay or how much the scholarship is worth, and the deadline. And then usually if you click on it, there is a link to either a PDF or an actual website where you can then go to access the award. And so when we upload the local scholarships, there's PDFs of pretty much all of them. So you can open those in Adobe, and it's really nice if the students are able to kind of type right in to the application, so it's easy for the committees to read. You don't have to, but I think it's appreciated if you're able to do that, since they are electronic documents, and then you can just print them out, sign them, and then turn them in to the counseling departments.
One word of advice though, again, going back to that reading the fine print, filling out the application, if it says to include your transcripts or your letters of recommendation, we suggest that you have all of that complete and brought at the same time. Don't piecemeal it to us because things may get lost and separated. You want everything completed and fastened with either a clip or a staple or something, paper clip probably. If there are envelopes.
Is there a way to like preview what the local scholarship requirements are so that you know what to get ready for that March 1st launch?
That's a good question. So, not necessarily, no, but what I can tell you is the local scholarships, they are looking for more of a criteria that usually is like a decent student, but if it's an elementary home and school, they want them to have attended that school, and then usually the home and schools, for instance, are going to ask for an essay about the child's favorite, the student's favorite memory
from that school.
That's what a lot of the local awards are more like. So in terms of like preparing prior to your senior year, really I would just say, obviously your grades and SATs, get them as high as possible, which everyone's already doing. The key really is when you do get the list, because some awards aren't every single year. Sometimes the money runs out and they're not offered at all. But when you do get the list, we have a whole PDF that goes through what all of the qualifications are. And I think what has worked best is when families sit down and just highlight the ones that I think we could do this one. I think we could do this one, and then you go back and double check that you've met all those requirements because there's a lot. Like I want to say at East we have 50 maybe, and
I would say
West
close
it's
to
a little
60,
a little bit more. So anyway, but most of these local awards are really like
Pardon the interruption, folks. At this
organizational.
time.
Yeah, organizational, like I'm thinking there's a music, at West there's a Music Parents Association one, there is, kids who are involved in the musical, there's a specific musical one. Some of them are in memory, like I said, of students who have either passed on or really left an impression here on West, and it's in their legacy to continue on. Students who are interested in that field that student pursued and was successful. So, it is a bit overwhelming when you have to take that time. That's why we say set aside the time to really read through what the criteria is asking, and then sort of just make a list of which ones you think you would qualify for, and then kind of chip away a little bit at a time. Each day, do one or two. Any other questions before? I know they're saying go to
5-minute travel.
Yeah.
I also wanted to just quickly point out that so there are a lot of these smaller monetary money scholarships, and it is one of those almost drop in the bucket kind of feelings at times. But those awards, not only from a financial standpoint, can add up, but those little awards actually often help you to get some of the bigger awards too, because it's almost a resume builder as you complete or win these other awards. So that's another way that I encourage people to try and attack this, because when you see a $500 scholarship and you're trying to fill a $30,000 gap, sometimes it feels like, is this really even worth my time? But oftentimes the kids that truly do devote almost like part-time job kind of time, they're taking a couple hours a week to just see what, essays they can reuse or tweak or talk to teachers about, getting new letters of recommendation if possible. oftentimes there's this cumulative effect that they're starting to win awards, and then those awards are helping to give others. So, anything else?
All right.
I think.
Okay, thank you so much. If you have any specific